In this video, we're going to listen to some advice from a sharp sports bettor and verify if the advice he is giving is legit advice or if the advice he is giving is absolute garbage. Greatly appreciate you guys tuning in. My name is MGCovers. Today is Friday. If you don't know this already, I give away all my lines for all sports on my Instagram. There is a link to follow me in the description of this video. So if you just click on that link and follow me, you'll see all my lines for all sports, mainly focusing on Major League Baseball as well as some soccer. But we also have our lines available for MLB, Final Four, and NHL. All right, so let's dive into this. Now, I want to preface this before we actually show you the clip. It's a video clip. In this industry, anytime someone says something advice-wise, because this is a math-based business, a statistical-based business, you, the consumer, or another sharp, can verify what someone is saying. So I want to give you this advice before we even start. Even if it's something that I say, you can verify anything in this business statistically. Okay. All right. So let's dive into what I want to show you here. We'll pull up. It's it's a tweet/video. All right. So we're looking at this gentleman. If you don't know this, this is Bill Krakenberger. Sorry. And I have no beef with him at all. And we're going to listen to this advice and be objective and actually apply the advice that he's given in this video. He's got like 55,000, probably a prominent figure in the sports betting community. So we'll listen to this entirely and then we'll talk about it and then actually apply the advice he's given. And he tweeted this on March the 19th. I think it's from a podcast. So this is right before the NCAA tournament.
You want to buy to 2 and 3 in college basketball, even the 5. You want to buy to the number. So not off the number. So you don't want to go 3 to 3.5. But if something's like, but however, you want to buy, and why do I know buying? I'm not just guessing, because the sharpest guys in the game told me that. The guys at Pinnacle back in the 90s told me that buying onto 2 or 3. The great Allen lost in 2-3-5. I've been around some of the sharpest minds in the world. So I passed that information on to you guys.
Okay. All right. So what he is suggesting, just to summarize this, if a team is 2.5 and you're on the dog, you want to lay minus 120 or whatever you can get to buy that point up to the 3. I mean, you want to get it off of that number. And if you read down in the thread, somebody asked the question and he confirms it. If you're on the favorite, you want to buy it down to the whole number. So if a line is 3.5, he's suggesting to lay minus 120 or whatever you can get to get it down to the 3. So what we're going to do is we're going to look at the NCAA tournament and basically apply his advice. Now, let me tell you this before we do this. There are 15 games where the 2, 3, and the 5 are applicable to what he is suggesting to do. If you are a longtime follower or a client of mine, you should be able to take an educated guess at the percentage of times this potentially can come into play. There's a max percentage that this will cash at, what he's suggesting, a max. And if you're a client or long-term follower, you should know this already. So let's dive into what he is suggesting. All right, so the first game, we're just going to use March Madness. So this was 3/18, the very first day of the March Madness tournament and the very first game. And what I'm going to do to make this consistent, we're going to use the closing line at Bookmaker. Pretty sharp book. And we're just going to use this so that the whole thing is consistent. So the closing line here was 3.5. So if you're on the dog, he is suggesting to buy the half point at minus 120. We'll just keep saying minus 120, even though he says there's books that you can't get it at that. It's minus 121, minus 130. So in that case, that would not help you at all, meaning they actually covered at the 3.5 number. And he's suggesting to buy off of the favorite down to the whole number. So at 3.5, if you bought it down to 3, that would not have helped you. So instead of losing minus 110 juice on Alabama State, you would have lost minus 120. Okay. So 0 for 1. His next game, North Carolina, San Diego State, you can see it's 4.5. So he's suggesting with North Carolina to buy it down to the 4. You didn't need it. They won convincingly. And San Diego State, if you're on San Diego State, he is suggesting that you buy it up to the 5. So instead of the normal juice, let's just assume all these are minus 110 plays. You would have laid minus 120 and just basically lost more juice because the half a point did not help you. So to start, he is 0-2. Now let's look at the next game. And we're not going to go through all of these, but a significant amount. Okay, the next one we have is from Wednesday, 3/19 between Xavier and Texas. Xavier was minus 2.5. So with his suggestion, we're going to buy that minus 120 down to 2. And that didn't help you at all. They would have covered the 2.5. Same deal with Texas. So he's suggesting get it off of the 2.5, buy it up to the 3, and you would end up losing minus 120 instead of minus 110. All right. And we're starting to see a pattern here, folks. All right, let's go to 320. First game is VCU. We have another 2.5 here. So he's suggesting to take the 2.5 and buy it up to the 3. That would have not have helped you. And you would end up losing minus 120 instead of normal juice. BYU minus 2.5. Buy it down to the 2. That didn't help you. They covered the 2. They covered the 2.5. They would have covered, any number close to that. All right. So let's take a look at this one from 321. All right. So now this one's 5.5. Now I would think that this would only be applicable to the favorite because he didn't mention buying off of the 5.5 up to the 6. But he did mention in the comment section about buying the 2, 3, and the 4. And even the 5. So for the favorite, instead of 5.5, you would have bought this down. You would have laid minus 120 down to the 5. And that didn't help you, meaning you could have laid minus 110 and they still covered the 5.5. So you're noticing all these games, there's a pattern, right? All of these teams that are covering are winning outright. All right. Let's look at Illinois from 323. There's a few more in here, and I'll show you the entire list when we finish this audit here. On 323, Illinois is 2.5. Instead of Illinois being minus 2.5, if you were on the favorite, you should buy it by the half point and get the number to 2 and lay a minus 120. The only thing that happened there, you would have lost minus 120. It didn't help. And the same deal with Kentucky. So buying it up to the 3 didn't help you at all. In fact, Kentucky won outright. So not applicable. So let's look at 2 instances where it was applicable. Okay, from the same day. All right, Oregon, you can see here, and Arizona. This line was 4.5. So his advice is to buy up to the 5 here, right? And lay minus 120. Well, guess what? Oregon covered with plus 4.5. So you didn't need the extra half point. The line was, they lost 83, 87, but covered with the 4.5. Now with the Arizona buying the half point down, the only thing that would have done, you would have not won the game. You would have just pushed. So instead of laying 4.5, he's suggesting to lay minus 120 to buy it down to the 4, and you would have pushed. There, it helped you push, not win, just push. And then we'll finally look at this last one here from 328, which was Ole Miss and Michigan State. Line was 3.5. So Ole Miss at 3.5 covered. So it did not help you with the dog, meaning they would have covered at 3.5. And he's suggesting lay minus 120 to buy it up to the 4. Didn't need to do that. And then with Michigan State, if you buy it down a half point, laying minus 120, you would have pushed. So let's take a look at this sheet where I did the entire audit, and let's scroll our way up where you can see it here. Maybe I can blow this up to 120. Yeah, here we go. Perfect. All right. So there were a total of 15 games where the 2, 3, 4, and the 5 were applicable. The number of games where his suggestion to buy the half point helped you win the game, 0. As far as the advice that he gave, win losses, it went 0 and 15. I'm going to repeat that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. The advice he gave went 0 and 15 in the NCAA tournament. And there were only 2 instances where you would have pushed. So therefore, this is absolute garbage advice. Now, I want to talk about why this is not applicable, what he's actually advising you to do. The reason is, this is very simple. There is a term called statistical properties. This is a term I came up with. If you mention this to another sharp, or you're a sharp listening to this video, you've never heard that term before. I made that up. It is a term that I've used to define statistical properties are facts about the sport. A fact about NCAA basketball, a team that wins covers majority of the time. What percentage wise? It's 80%. And I did an audit on, it was either NCAA basketball or NBA. The average margin of victory in basketball, whether it's college or pros, is 11. So if the line is 9.5 or less, and that's applicable to all the games that he is showing you, it's 80%. meaning some years it might be 77%. So if the line is 9.5 or less, the team that wins covers 80% of the time. So even if we keep doing this, the best in that question I proposed at the beginning of this video, this advice max would be applicable 20% of the time. So as a sports handicapper or somebody who wants to improve, should you play into a quote 20% probability, or should you play into an 80% probability? You should play into an 80% probability, which means whichever team that you feel like will win the game, that team will cover 80% of the time. Or if it's a dog, instead of taking the points, you should just simply play it on the money line. And again, when I give this advice, you can do the same thing to my advice I just did to his audit. So you can go back and audit and do exactly what I was telling you to do and apply my advice to, the tournament, etc. So now, why did he give this advice out? I am not real sure exactly why he did, but obviously it's not applicable and it's really bad advice. Now, what's interesting about the sports betting space from a psychological perspective, nobody in here questions it. And I want to scroll down and show you a tweet that somebody responds. It's super fascinating. So you have everybody just, hey, great advice, correct. Yeah, this is good. Somebody else, whenever it's available, by the half point in every sport. This guy asked, so if it's minus 5.5, 2.5, you're buying it to the 5 and the 2. And somebody says, yep, you're right. Let's go back here. And there was one particular one. All right, now look at this. Look at this tweet here. Peter Karma, smart guy. Says, just to follow up yesterday's post, only 4 games final today, but if you had moved the line, no matter what side you wanted, would have saved the juice on all games. Spread was not a factor. So if you bet 4 games were minus 110, you saved 40 on either side and you won more with the winners. The only person in this thread to get it correct. He's basically saying the line was what Bill was advocating to do wasn't applicable in any of those 4 games. This comment got 18 views, 0 likes, 0 comments. And it was the sharpest comment in the entire thread. And what you have to be careful of in the sports betting space, and I would be willing to bet if there was a poll, we could take of who had more credibility in the sports betting space. And again, I got no beef with him. I'm just saying the advice he gave out is incorrect. It's bad advice. It's garbage advice. It's not applicable. He has 55,000 followers. I have I don't know how many I have on Twitter. I got 3,000 subs, but 2,500. But the most important thing you have to realize, and I've said this before, if you want to get better at this business, I'm not talking about at a rec level. You're saying, hey, I'm not good at sports betting. I want to improve. And that's the majority of people that are involved in the industry. There are 2 quick paths to failure in life in sports betting. Take advice from everybody or take advice from nobody. So the most important decision you're going to have to make is you're going to have to figure out who you're going to learn this business from. You can learn it from me. It's very simple to get started. We offer a service, $50 a month. You can get access to all of my coaching videos. We have close to 200 coaching videos that are not on the YouTube channel that are just reserved for clients. So you can get access to all that. In addition to that, you get access to all my lines so you can learn to take a sharp sports betting model, apply what I teach, and to improve your handicapping. You can also get access to my place, $100 a month. And then if you join for the year, which is the best value, instead of paying $100 each month, you can pay $499 one time, save about $600. And it's basically like getting an associate's degree in sports handicapping. Link to join in the description box. Greatly appreciate you guys tuning in. Like this video, subscribe to the channel. Talk to y'all soon. Peace.